Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I was teaching recently, a couple of days ago, in Carlingford, and we did this tune called Fisher's Hornpipe. So now on the day I said I was going to put Soundslice course together for all the students that were at the workshop, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm also sharing this with all my Patreon folks as well. So that's just a quick introduction. For those who are brand new to what all of this is the way that I teach. I take a tune, I start out with the very simple melody and then gradually add in a version of the tune with ornamentation, then a version that includes chords. Sometimes I talk about tricky aspects of the tune, interesting variations that you can use, trying to find some challenging part of the technique. So today we're doing Fisher's Hornpipe, which, to be truthful, is actually a bluegrass reel. What I've also included in this is 2 play-along tracks, one at 80 BPM, that's 80 beats per minute, which is pretty moderate pace, and I'm also doing one at 100, which is like a medium speed reel but a very fast hornpipe. So it'll give you an idea of how the tune can be played. Often this would be played crazy fast, but there's not an awful lot of point in teaching that. So we're going to stick to simple tune, we're going to add in ornamentation, talk a little bit about variation and the different types of ornamentation, and then put the whole thing together in a couple of play-along tracks. On Soundslice, at the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little cog wheel for settings. You can turn on the note names. It'll be called pitch names, which is the ABCs. So for those folks who read by ABC letters, you can turn them on in the bottom. You can also hide the tab and the stave, or both. So there are options in that little menu bar at the bottom on how you want to see the music, if it's bamboozling to see it all. So you can select which one you want to see. You can also slow down the music, you can speed it up. You can go in and drag a couple of bars and just loop those over and over if you want to practice a particular section. So there's a lot of stuff on this website, a lot of tools. It's very, very useful. So here we go. This is the simple version of Fisher's Hornpipe. A quick word on picking. This is a great tune to practice alternate picking, which is down, up, down, up. So we want to do a downstroke on the first of the bar and a downstroke on each of the down beats. This is a hornpipe, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The down beats are 1 and 3 and 1 and 3. So we're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. If there's a long note on a 1, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's how simple the picking pattern is. So don't overcomplicate it, but if you're not doing it in a regulated fashion, it's absolutely worth spending time learning how to make sure that your picking is an alternate, it's leading with a downstroke, and it's always moving down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. You won't go wrong doing that. Let's add in some simple ornamentation. We won't go buck wild on this one. Let's talk about one or two little things in that. Firstly, the pull-off. Alright, so if you're new to this channel or if you're new to this way of teaching or learning, I've done this before, but it's always worth mentioning it. Again, a pull-off, you make the note with the action of the finger on the left hand, pulling off, literally. In this instance, we're doing an F sharp pulled off to an E. So you pick the F sharp and then you pull off the E. And the two happen almost at the same time and you get that nice twangy sound. So in the second half, it sounds like this. So there's lots of opportunities to do that in various tunes. It's a nice little skill to have. The second one I want to talk about are chromatic triplets. What chromatic means is that you play each fret one directly after the other. It's just a word that means, it relates to like on a piano where you go white note, black note, white note. So it's literally every single note in a row. I'm sure there's a better explanation for it. In this instance, here's one that comes on the upbeat to the second half. So the triplet is C sharp, D, and E flat or D sharp. So in this instance, we will do what I do, and certainly what I recommend doing, is just shifting position, bringing my index finger up onto the C sharp, and then jumping back down. You can do it if you've got great dexterity, and if you don't, this is a great one to practice it with, you know, using standard fingers. So middle finger on the C sharp, then fourth finger on the D, and using your pinky for the E, for the D sharp. That absolutely works. So find the way that's easiest for you. Now there are chromatic triplets where we will slide. Okay, so let me find one of those. So in the second half, there's a chromatic triplet that runs up, and this is it. All right, so the triplet is F sharp, G, and G sharp. And it's running up to a high A. So the two ways of doing this: slide your middle finger and use your fourth finger on the high A, or use all four fingers. My preferred method, because I just have a weak pinky, is to slide my middle finger. Right at this point in the tune, there is a chromatic triplet that goes down in direction. So it starts on D, C sharp, C natural, and down to the B. So the slide is going to happen at the end of the triplet. So we're sliding the C natural down to the B, fret 3 to 2. So these are useful ornaments to learn if they're brand new to you, because they kind of help with the flexibility of the position of your hand, using your fingers in different positions, and that just gives you a kind of a broader range of movement around the fretboard. Let's add in a little bit more ornamentation and pick the pace up ever so slightly as well. So there's loads going on there. That's got a ton of chromatic triplets, crammed in as many as I possibly could. Let's talk a little bit about chords and double stops. The first half of this is in the key of D and it changes to the key of A in the second half. So knowing a tiny bit about chord structure is helpful. So the chord of D is made up of D, F sharp and A. Chord of A is A, C sharp and E. It's an arpeggio, also known as a triad. And the other chord that appears in this tune is G, which is G, B, D. And if you're into scales, the chord is made up of the first note of the scale, the third note, 1, 2, 3, and the fifth, 5. So 1, 3, 5. And that's how you know which note to add in. The other way to do it is to just kind of hit things, and if it sounds good, do it again. That's the way I learned, and I've been trying to reverse engineer music theory onto what I've been doing for 40 years, making it up as I'm going along, essentially. So here's the tune, just going to keep it nice and simple. It is worth noting, I've done this many times in my videos, I tune my G string up to A. And for a tune like this that's in D and in A, it's really beneficial. You don't have to do it at all. I like it, I prefer it. Banjo is more in tune with itself. It's something you can try out. If you like it, do it. If you don't, change it back. It doesn't really matter. It does let you have a D chord with the D note on your lowest string is now on fret 5 instead of fret 7. And that makes it a little bit easier. Let's do a round of that much slower. Alright, as a big challenge, here's one round of the tune with a whole lot of things thrown in. Something to aim for. And remember, on Soundslice you can always slow this down to 80%, 70% of the speed so that you can play along and catch all the ornamentation. So here's Fischer's Hornpipe. Couple of extra fun things thrown in there. This has been a lesson for Fischer's Hornpipe, but hopefully it gives you a little indication of all that is on offer on Soundslice. And I've got like 74 different tune lessons up there at the moment. You get instant access to the whole lot for think it's like less than €10 a month. So the value is awesome. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit like and subscribe. I'd be very happy if you did. Thanks for watching.